Hello, everyone. I'm Sheldon Barlett Rumor, and this is it. Welcome back to This Is It TV. It is such a pleasure and always so much fun to have our next guest on. I'd love for him to reintroduce himself, his first and last name, and all he is up to.
Sheldon, I'm Bezich, men's health advocate, contributing writer to PhillyVoice.com, and of course, the author of Crack the Code, 10 Proven Secrets that Motivate Healthy Behavior and Inspire Fulfillment in Men Over 50. How are you?
I'm so good. I am so good. It makes my day when we get to start it off with you. And I'm super excited that you are back on. And I want to be able to talk about today's topic. As you guys know, we always cheat a little bit before we hit record, and I get some insight as to what we're chatting about today. And this one is super, super important. So what do you have for us?
Well, I have a glimmer of hope. Okay. You may remember in our last couple of conversations, I was ranting about some recent studies, back-to-back studies that came out this summer that really just showed that, what I call the stagnation of men's health. When compared to men in other affluent countries, the health of American men were just, well below that. And of course, the gap between men and women in this country when it comes to their health continues to be the case. In fact, it increased a little bit. So I was not feeling very good, and I was ranting a bit and trying to motivate our guys to, kind of get on the stick here. Right. But now I've seen in the literature a little bit of a motion in the right direction, if you will, a hint of progress. And that has to do with, of all things, mental health in men and overcoming the stigma and the male stereotype that the last thing we want to do is talk about, any mental health problems, but it seems to be the case. And of all places, this is coming from this new sort of attitude, the National Football League.
The NFL.
The epicenter of the male stereotype and the stigma that says, we don't talk about any problems, let alone mental health problems. But there are a number of players and former players now that are advocating and coming out and sharing their own personal stories and suggesting to guys, hey, mental health is real. You need to treat it like your physical health. And I think that's quite a turn in the right direction.
Wow. First of all, it is a little shocking, I have to say, even though, of course, as you know, we've talked about this multiple times. I love the NFL. I love football. Go Eagles.
But for ticket holder.
Right. I know that to be true. I know that to be true. But it was a little shocking that organization or even key pinnacle employees or representation or players are stepping up and saying, oh my goodness, this is something that we have to address. It can't be an afterthought, because oftentimes, when we're talking about health, we're talking about the physicality of it, and we're talking about what you're consuming or what you're eating or how you're exercising. But you're saying that it's becoming even more prevalent and more important that mental health is part of that component. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes. And what's really critical, more acceptable. Right. When Lane Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles, who we were talking about offline, came out last year with his own story of mental health challenges and actually took a couple of games off, he was supported by his teammates for the courage, and they recognize that not only is it manly to do so, but it takes courage to do that. And so to me, that's quite a turn. And the other side of it is from the league itself. Now they require each team to have a behavioral health, licensed behavioral health specialist, available to the players and part of the team structure. So I think that's another step, because I think they recognize now, particularly through the Lane Johnson example, that if you've got mental problems, you're not performing at your peak. And ultimately, that's what it's about.
And you're not performing at your peak. And that is truly what it's about. And it's a part of your overarching health. I think that a lot of the bad habits we get into, right, that affect our physicality and our ability to be, whether put on, weight that doesn't serve us, or whether it's consuming things that don't, that aren't good for us, is part of how we think about ourselves, right? And how we participate in our day-to-day life. And the fact that this is even more so prominent now, slowly, I'm sure, but the conversations are happening about mental health, I think is only a good thing, right?
Absolutely. And it's ironic. We've spoken many times, you and I have, about the connection between physical and mental health.
Right.
But when you think about it, sports is such a good example, because we talk so often about how, whether it's golf, or it's a pitcher in baseball, that, their psyche and their mental state, and it's a mental game.
Yes.
And so this is, I think, just taking that notion into, a positive direction.
I absolutely love that. And think about the hectic jobs you have, even if they're off the field, right? Whether it's the medical profession or whether you're in construction, this is not a good place for you not to mentally be sound or for you not to be thinking clearly. And then when you're not thinking clearly, you make bad decisions. You make bad decisions that can affect you and those that you love.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So is it a situation where it's a physical timeout, or what are people suggesting as it relates, now that you've acknowledged that mental illness or mental health, I should say, is something you want to focus on? What are some easy steps that folks can kind of participate in to get the ball rolling?
Well, first and foremost, go see your doctor. If you don't have a mental health professional already in your life, which is a good chance, I would suspect, for a lot of our listeners,
Right.
Go to your primary care doc or go to somebody that can really get you in the right direction and get you to a professional, right? That's what the pros do. They get to somebody who's licensed, who's skilled, who can really treat you. So, and quite often today, as somebody in healthcare, I know that in the primary care office, when you go for a checkup, what we do today is we do a mental health screening. Just a few questions, but or I should say a depression screening.
Okay.
And that is sort of a baseline indicator of any issues, but get help is the first and most important step.
I love that. I love that. And I like the idea of it being maintenance as opposed to, or pre-med, I guess, preventative, as opposed to when things are at their darkest or when things are at their worst. Oftentimes we wait until the dam has broken before we find the need, the help or the resources. But I'm assuming you're saying, or at least I hear what you're saying, as far as like, okay, let's seek out that a little bit earlier, similar to the way we get that checkup, on that annual basis.
Right. If you feel the hint that something is just not right.
Yeah.
Right, ask somebody. Don't take any chances. It can't hurt to ask, inquire, get some help. And look, the best thing that could happen is you come to realize that everything's okay. And and again, it's like on the physical side, the blood pressure's all right. The labs came back okay. Same thing on the mental health side.
Well, I absolutely love this. A round of applause, as we do for the NFL, for the steps that they're taking in the right direction to make sure that, that the guys that are on the field are not only playing well, but they're in a great mindset in order to do so. And I love, again, every time you come on the show, you provide such practical insights for people to look at their health. I want to make sure that people can get in touch with you, my dear friend, that they can follow, fan, and like you. Where would be the best place for them to reach you?
Right over my shoulder. 50plusmen.com. Get all the information you need and a way to contact me. Love to have you reach out.
You have no choice. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. He and I are going to be doing some fun things. We have an event that we've been trying to pull together that will be coming your way shortly. I promise you that. But in the meantime, get in touch with my dear friend. Absolute wonder. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, guys,
thank you.
All the information that you need can be found right over his shoulder. Get in touch with him today. From all of us here at This Is It TV, I'm Sheldon Bartlett Rumor, and we will see you soon. Take care.